Hello and welcome. Today is Wednesday. It is the 15th day of October 2014, and my name's Derek. Welcome to today's chart analysis video, which is going to be for the US Canadian Index cross. But before we get into that, a couple key market updates, one within the Dow Jones Industrials, pretty much the entire stock market. It opens the session down 250 points today, and it's now down 175. Which, of course, for the Dow is pretty decent volatility right now. Market action has broken support for the fourth time since the 2009 bull market begun. And each of the previous three breaks were failed moves. Within silver, today the market rallied from a bottom of 1703 this morning up to 1781. There's your volatility so far today, 4.5%, which is very high. And it has currently fallen down to 1750, so it has given back about 2%. And the market action overall is in a bear market, still within that correctionary stage, as I talk about the 18 average going sideways. So let's get started. We're going to talk about the US Canadian Index. This is an older chart that I talked about on February the 21st. And going over this at the time, you can notice in here the volatility was really massive. And then as things settle down below the 1 even handle mark, lower volatility. Also, things note worth pointing out that this top occurred in the earlier part of 2009. So therefore, it was in a bear market down to into 2011, which of course that's when the silver market had bottomed. And in this time, it has been in a bull market. Of course, a price target I would have been talking about in here. But overall, when I see chart action like this, it doesn't matter what the chart is. But if I have a downtrend like this, especially when it hits perfect resistance, stabilizes, resists and gets above this band, and it's at the middle of the area, generally speaking, the way I would play it as far as predictability odds of going up or down is if it reaches this level first, I would consider betting to go lower with the price action down to this line. And the opposite is true, that if it hits this line first, you would want to bet for it to go higher with a price action to this line. So where do we stand today on October the 15th? Well, let's bring in the updated chart. Okay, here we have it. So obviously, perfect support here, and thus the play would be a winner. So people talk about that the ones whom call tops and bottoms are liars, especially all the time, and in a decent sample size, to a degree, that is true. However, it is possible to hit tops and bottoms very well and very profitable. The situation no different, as it appears just at pennies below this line. And if, of course, you get in on a play like this, you buy and it automatically goes up, you're just basically patting yourself on the back. So what would your situation be? Would you have already sold? And the answer to that should be no, because your price objective is to this line and it has not made it to that point. Now, in the situation where it doesn't do that and it retraces lower, you'd have to tell yourself, well, where do I want to place what you could call a stop loss, but a stop I don't gain quite as much kind of deal. My two examples or ideas would be, one, a decent move below 38.2% retracement from this range, which would be somewhere in here, or more aggressive below the 61.8%. And that way, if it does happen to retrace, you lose out on large gains, but you still gain a bit and don't lose. Even looking towards this 18 average band, because I talk about so much in reversing a trend. You're in a downtrend here. Step one, band has to flatten out. Boom. Step two, establish resistance. And the biggest area is exactly where it hit in at Fibonacci. So now you have support. So now you're looking to break established resistance. Well, then here, notice in here you have failed breakdown, fast move to the upside. But established resistance was broken right in here. Thus, currently still by getting in, you profited in here, and you had a successful retracement within that point there. So it really does look as if that it's going to make a play to this level, which is 115, about a percent and change to go. Now at this point, I would be considering this a then what situation, or now what? What's going to happen in here where the probability odds would be for it to have some sort of retracement, but it's not bullish or bearish if that's the case. Where if you come up towards here and you have a retracement, and say you come down to 112, well, now it's almost in no man's land. In a situation where it does something like this, then you would be getting or continuing to be more bullish again. You'd be looking, okay, maybe we'll break through. This area would be the area I'd be looking for support, and the next high would be the previous high of 131. But on the contrary as well, if you have any type of resistance here and you are unable to establish a higher high, which is another common thing, something like this, then you'd want to consider, of course, a reversal, but do the exact same thing I was talking about here, where the band has to flatten out, you have to establish a level of support, come back to the band, and then break support as one of the key things as well. For myself, I think what the key thing is when the chart does manage to get to the 15% mark, to liquidate all US accounts. That's how I'm personally playing it. And thank you for tuning in to today's video, and have yourself a great week. I'll come back on the weekend with a silver chart analysis video. Take care.